Today in our entitled parents, Mom sent me a bill for raising me for $250,000. I've had a bit of good financial luck in my late 20s and 30s. My dad died in 2007, and my mom has been riding his life insurance settlement into the ground. She overspent 3 brand new Mercedes, among a ton of other idiotic purchases, since 2007, and is now having to earn her house to make ends meet. In the past 4 months, I've given her over $5,000 to keep her afloat. Today I received an itemized bill in the mail, totaling lodging, food, schooling, entertainment, and vacation expenses that she incurred since the time I was born. The bill exceeded $250,000. I called her this evening to congratulate her on her hilarious joke, when it became clear that she wasn't joking and indeed felt entitled to $253,032.56 of my money. Her reasoning: I wouldn't be worth 1/10 of what I am now without her influence. She said, you can afford to lose that kind of money. Why not just give it to me before you do piss it away? It weighs is one of the many reasons that there are more than 2,000 miles in between my front door and hers. This is the last reason I needed to never give her another penny of my money. I've got a therapy appointment on Monday. I can't wait to bring this bullshit up. Edit. Damn, this blew up. 2 things. 1. Quit calling my mom a bitch, or I won't have to ask my dead dad to haunt your ass. She's indeed crazy. She's no bitch. 2. Thanks for the support. It's exceedingly encouraging. Edit 2. Guys, ambushed and buzzed. I'm going to bed. May the new year bring us all closer to achieving happiness, whatever that may be. Thanks for keeping me occupied. Love Isle. This next one is entitled Knocked Unconscious on Public Transport Thanks to an Entitled Mother. For clarification and understanding purposes, I have a medical condition in which my blood circulation is extremely weak. My average resting pulse is at around 45. When I sleep, it can go down to 30, endangering my life. When I am physically active, not resting, my pulse rises to around 60. A pulse of 70 for me is like 130 for someone with a normal or healthy blood circulation, so I pass out extremely easy. Therefore, I need to be super careful about my movements, actions, and stuff, or else I will get knocked unconscious in seconds of just standing up. I never thought I'd encounter an entitled parent myself, but unfortunately I did yesterday. It was around 8:30 in the morning. I was riding the bus to university. So I sit there on the bus, listening to music, minding my own business, when all of a sudden, someone taps me on the arm. Excuse me, young man. Could you please get up? This is my son's favorite spot on the bus. The entitled must say. I replied, What? I'm sorry, but I need this place. I am. Come on. There's plenty of room for you to stand. Just get up and give us the spot. I really can't. I'm sorry. If I get up now, I will, Just get up. You seem fine. Nothing's wrong with you. You really just lazy and don't want to stand. While I'm trying to explain to him that I have a certain condition in which I need to be careful about my movements because my pulse and circulation is so extremely weak and fragile, she keeps on screaming about how I was stealing her son's happiness and how lazy I am for not standing up for a mother and her child. I was feeling my pulse rising because of the argument and stress this lady was causing me, and I got extremely anxious. I didn't want to pass out on public transport. Her son looked really uncomfortable through this whole argument, and at one point tried to tell him to just leave me alone. The rest of the bus, of course, caught attention to the situation. All of a sudden, Em grabbed my hand and tried to take my pulse. Your pulse seems fine. What's wrong with you? Why can't you just stand up? Her grip was so firm it left marks of her nails on my skin. She pulled me out of the seat, leaving me standing on the bus with an already way too high pulse for me and my condition. I tried to walk a few steps to find something to hold on to, so I wouldn't fall, but it was already too late anyway, and I fell to the ground, getting unconscious in the middle of a bus. What happened after that, I don't quite know. I got conscious laying wrapped up in a blanket on the pavement, surrounded by paramedics, the police, and the bus driver. They explained to me what had happened while I was gone. The police took statements from some other people on the bus and the bus driver and took him in custody. They asked me if I wanted to give a statement now or later, when I recovered, and if I wanted to press charges for assault, and of course, I absolutely did. All I heard from her after I woke was just screaming in disbelief and crying. So far, it's sure that Em's health insurance company will have to pay for the ambulance, paramedics, and other following medical bills. All public transport for this specific line was forced to stop for 3 hours just because an entitled mother didn't get what she wanted. Currently, I'm in hospital under supervision. Under supervision. I'll be released once they reassure my pulse and circulation is a little stronger. They know they can't cure it, but they said they will try to make me at least a little more stable. Edit. Thank you guys so much for all your lovely wishes. So far, I'm feeling alright and much better. I'm probably getting released tomorrow evening. I'll update you if I get any updates on Em's charges. Edit the second. After reading up on some insurance stuff, I think it was some kind of umbrella insurance policy, and not only her health insurance. I have no big clue how this works, and I can only go with the info my company provided me, but you guys also gave some nice input. Big factor to take into consideration about this. I'm German. This happened in Germany. This next one is entitled Younger cousin and his entitled dad expected me to give him a brand new Apple laptop. This was originally posted on Choosing Beggars, and a few people suggested I repost it here too. So here it is. Over the years I noticed that the worst culprit for are usually family members, especially the random ones who are sort of relate to you, but you know, deep down you don't really know each other all the well. This incident actually occurred quite a long time ago, over 10 years ago, and I have almost forgotten about it until someone reminded me about it last weekend. Way back over 10 years ago, I just got a promotion to a new role and I bought some new tools, including a new Apple MacBook. For work, I was living in London at the time and was in a small flat apartment, which means space was a premium. So I decided that I should get rid of some stuff in the house. One of those was a P that was a few years old at the time. Back then, my grandma used to call me up every few days just to chat about stuff, and I mentioned to her about the promotion and the new stuff I bought and the old stuff I am giving away. And being an old lady whose hobby was basically phone call to the family, she passed this news on to a few relatives. One of my aunt heard the news and told her younger kid. A few days later, my aunt and her kid called me up and said they will take my computer. Great. Come over to my place and collect them. They drove over the next day, and then turned into a long argument with me once they arrived. For some reason, probably due to the fact my grandma doesn't really know about computers and stuff, or my aunt misheard it, or whatever, they thought they were picking up my brand new MacBook instead of the few years old desktop. My aunt, being an adult, was at least understood it must be a miscommunication. My little cousin, though, was throwing a huge tantrum over it in my house. He kept going on about how crap the spec of the machine is, and how it would be useless to him. And bear in mind, he wasn't like 8 years old at the time. He was 13 years old. Still a kid, I know, but should be at an age of which he should understand that his distance cousin me is not gonna randomly give him a brand new computer just for homework. My aunt was trying to just get the computer out of my place, and I just wanted to get them and then the computer out of my house, and my girlfriend just wanted all the crying. 13 years old boy crying was quite a scene, noises to stop so she could focus at her work. At the end, they just left. Empty-handed, of course, since the kid doesn't want the old and I wasn't ready to give him my new one. I thought that was that. But then, later that night, my uncle, my cousin's entitled dad, called me up and demanded an explanation of why I backed out on a deal, and that was not the way to treat the family, The phone call ended up with me hanging up on him, which led to a lecture from my grandma the next day over the phone, and took me an hour to explain what happened, and that led to a lecture from her to my uncle, which led to more phone calls and agreement. My uncle complained that now his son has no computer to use, and I told him he can still pick up my computer, which is still sitting in my house at the time. I didn't get an answer until 2 days later, and he sent me a list of things he wants me to upgrade to the computer that I am planning to give away with my own money. Obviously, I just ignore that the time, and good job. My family always has a lot of drama, probably stirred up by my very bored grandma. Come to think of it, so very soon everyone was on to the new storyline to follow. And what happened to the computer? I ended up giving it to a neighbor in the same floor, of whom I have talked to a few times. They were in a less fortunate position than us, and their 2 teenage children at the time used to use the computers at school and library for their homework. Once my girlfriend found out about that, it was a natural place to send my computer. At first they refused it, because they couldn't give money for it, but we were not looking to take any money anyway, because A, it didn't worth all that much anyway, and B, it was much easier to bring the damn thing just across a few doors than anywhere else. They were our neighbor for a few more years before I moved away from the block. I didn't even think of much of what happened it anymore until recently, when I was contacted by the older one of the 2 children. Apparently he has just graduated from university and just started a job. We talked about a few things, and he thanked me again for giving him the computer all those years. Apparently it's still being used by their parents at their home. It's funny how things can turn out sometimes. Pretty sure my cousin has still not forgiven me for not giving him a MacBook though. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the bell, and whatever else our YouTube overlords require nowadays.